Okay, let's talk about it. Can Naruto still use Sage of Six Paths mode? The answer is yes, but the real answer is no. Give me a second. I'll explain it. But before I get to explaining anything, how about you explain to me how you haven't already liked this video, subscribe to the page, and hit my noti bell. Because if you're thinking you might like this video, I'm thinking you might like the rest of them. So before we talk about whether or not Naruto can use Sage of Six Paths mode, let's talk about what exactly it is. Well, in definition, it's actually kind of broad. It's basically just a power granted to Naruto by Hagoromo Otsutsuki. We know what it did. Essentially, Hagoromo granted him this massive power up in strength, stamina, and mobility. But beyond that, and the thing that most people ask about, is the Truth Seeker orbs, a power that Hagoromo passed on to Naruto that we haven't seen since the war arc. So people are asking, if Naruto has this incredible ability, why doesn't he use it more often? I mean, he can stop any jutsu, he can make rods to throw into people. Why is he not using that? It's very powerful. And the thing is, he just can't. Naruto could never, ever, even in the war arc, create a Truth Seeker orb. He was given 6 of them by Hagoromo Otsutsuki, and during the duration of the battle, they were either thrown into Kaguya's dimension or entirely destroyed. But why could Naruto use them and not create them? That kind of feels dumb, right? And in a way, you're not wrong, but in a way, you're also wrong. To break this down, we need to talk about Kekkei Mora, or the combination of all 5 chakra releases and yin and yang. Some known Kekkei Mora are Ash All Killing Bone, the Sword of Nanabuko, and Truth Seeker orbs. But simply having all 5 chakra natures and yin and yang doesn't allow you to create Kekkei Mora. It simply allows you to use Kekkei Mora. Just in case you're wondering, the only people we know with all 5 Kekkei Mora are Kakashi, Naruto, Sakura, and I think there's one other, but I'm kind of lost on it for the moment. And before you say Sasuke, it's not. He doesn't have Yang release. In order to actually be able to create a Kekkei Mora, you either have to be a descendant of Kaguya or a Ten Tails Jinchuriki. The conventional knowledge is actually that you only can be a descendant of Kaguya and use them, but Infinite Tsukiyomi and God Nativity World of Trees are both Kekkei Mora technically, which means that Madara and Obito accessed them. This is why we only ever see Kaguya, Hamura, Hagoromo, Madara, and Obito create Kekkei Mora. Think about it. Have you ever seen another Otsutsuki use a Kekkei Mora? Ishiki, Renshiki, Momoshiki, none of them use Kekkei Mora, except the Byakugan, which is technically a Kekkei Mora, but like also invalidates this entire conversation. And I know what you're saying,
But no, the Byakugan's a Kekkei Genkai.
but here's the thing, we learned in the last that it's actually a Kekkei Mora, so everything's confusing now. But then again, so is the Rinne Sharingan, so really, what do I know? I am drastically off track. Regardless, Naruto cannot create new Kekkei Mora, even though he has all 5 chakra natures and yin and yang. He can simply use them if given to him. And that's exactly what happened with Hagoromo. But the question still persists. If he can't use Truth Seeker orbs, is he even really using Sage of Six Paths mode? And the answer is still yes, and we know that based off how he looks. In the war arc, the one very subtle change in Naruto's appearance from Jin Cloak to Sage of Six Paths mode is that his eyes became yellow with a cross between them. And I know this looks a lot like Sage mode to some people, but the yellowing of the eye is different from his eye being orange. As to why they made the change this subtle, I cannot tell you. So yes, even though Naruto reverted back to his Jin Cloak look in Boruto after the war arc, maybe he didn't like how high the collar was, he can still access Sage of Six Paths mode, which recharges much like his own and or Kurama's chakra. So without the Truth Seeker orbs, what does this do for him? It's like I said earlier, it's just a massive boost in his physical strength, speed, and endurance. The presence of the Sage of Six Paths chakra is actually shown to us by the seal that is on his hand when he activates his Jin Cloak mode that identifies Sage of Six Paths mode chakra is there. But the real question with Boruto has now become, since Naruto has, spoiler alert, lost Kurama, and the Sage of Six Path mode seems to be intertwined with his Jin Cloak, can he still use it now that Kurama is gone? And this is where my answers have to get a bit speculative, because we haven't seen Naruto fight since Ishiki battled him. But think for a second on why Hagoromo gifted him his chakra in the first place. It is a gift to those with iron will and the determination to never give up. To think something like that would be tied to the presence of Kurama's kind of insane to think about. What's more plausible is that Naruto, when he goes into Sage of Six Path mode, is trying to achieve his fullest amount of strength. And until Naruto lost Kurama, that included Jin Cloak. So the combination of the two was simply a way for him to get as strong as he possibly could be. So yes, even though Naruto has lost Kurama, that doesn't mean he's lost Sage of Six Path mode. And considering the fact that the Sage of Six Path gifted him his chakra and gifted Sasuke a full-ass Rinnegan, means that that gift is a lot more powerful than we're giving it credit for. In fact, Naruto may be a lot stronger than we think he is after losing Kurama. We don't know how much of that post-war arc power was coming from Kurama or the Sage of Six Path mode, because they were never activated independently. Was Kurama just acting as a battery for Naruto in order to allow him to fulfill his chakra and fight for longer? Maybe. Or maybe Sage of Six Paths mode is kind of just the whipped cream on top of the sundae. We don't know until we see him fight again. But I'd say the hopes have to be pretty high. So yes, in summary, technically Naruto does still have Sage of Six Paths mode. But no, he doesn't have Sage of Six Paths mode in the way that you identify. He doesn't have Truth Seeker orbs that he can magically summon. He's lost that ability. But he will still wash the taste out of the mouth of all 5 Kages, probably simultaneously, and anyone whose last name isn't Otsutsuki. But then again, maybe I'm just trying to calm myself down after all. Who knows? But if this video calms you down at all, maybe go ahead and like it, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell, because we talk about anime 3 times a week here, and you're probably gonna enjoy every single time. I don't know whose idea it was to simply just kind of change Naruto's eyes under a cloak of orange and yellow fire, but whoever it was, why? Kind of change Naruto's eyes under a cloak of orange and yellow fire, but whoever it was,
Why?